Hey folks, Casey Jim here. You may have seen some of my sarcastic videos, but I'm here today to talk about something serious. Today, December 14th, 2012, another tragedy for our country. For as of now unknown reasons, 20 young children and 6 adults were killed by an obviously disturbed young man. The stunned parents and families of these people, as well as everyone across America, are grief-stricken and mourning for these innocent kids. And all are asking the same question: why? Already the politicians are lining up into position to shamelessly step over the bodies of these dead children to get to a microphone and TV camera to denounce guns as the problem. Feigning sadness and outrage, they will call for more restrictions and outright bans to private firearm ownership, only to further their own political agendas. Even though I am an NRA member and I believe in the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment, I'm not here to defend firearm ownership. I'm here to answer the question: why? Who is to blame? And the answer is you, us, America. We are to blame. As a mechanic, an amateur inventor, and engineer, I have to analyze, troubleshoot, and dissect the problem in order to come up with a solution. So let's break it down using the simple method of problem, cause, and correction. First, you have to identify the problem. People are increasingly randomly killing people in schools, theaters, shopping malls, homes, and street corners. They're not isolated to rich, poor, young, old, black, white, Hispanic, or other. It's everywhere, from big cities to small towns, affluent areas to ghettos. These kind of killings have always happened, but are increasing at an alarming rate. So what's the cause? Killing has been around since Cain slew Abel. But as I've said, these kinds of killings have increased to a point where it is no longer a rarity, but a commonplace occurrence. Our parents, grandparents, and us never had to deal with these type of mass killings and indiscriminate shootings. So what has changed? What variables have been added or subtracted to the equation that have changed the results? First, God and religion have been basically removed from the process. This has skewed the moral compass from the true north. So as not to be a hypocrite, for those of you who know me, you know I am not a holy roller. I believe in God, but I am not a fan of any organized religion. I have friends that are devoutly religious and others that are remorselessly sinful. So even though I agree with the song that the sinners are much more fun, in my opinion, religion just does serve a necessary purpose. It is a creation of man used to control the human animal from indulging in its base animal instincts. It has its purpose, but also because religions are controlled by humans, they must be held in check by the necessary evils of government, thus creating a balance. They both must be equal influence on the population. If one or the other becomes too strong an influence over the other, whoever is in control of the stronger of the two will perpetrate evil in the name of good. Second, environment. What influences did we have growing up that are no longer part of what formed us into adulthood? For one, proper parenting. When we were growing up, if we got caught doing something wrong, we were disciplined. We learned that our actions had consequences, from groundings to whippings. We were held accountable to our behavior. Trust me, I know I was held accountable a lot. We also had other positive influences. I grew up watching Superman, John Wayne, and Gary Cooper fighting for the never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. From Archie and Jughead to Bazooka Joe, we had positive influences. Hell, even Mr. Smithers was always saying how he would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those darn kids on Scooby-Doo. Our music was mostly upbeat. Sure, there were some exceptions, but for the most part it was positive. We played team sports, baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and games like kick the can, hide and seek, hopscotch and tag, and marbles. All of these things have been removed from the equation and replaced with Hollywood movies that glorify drug use, drug lords, gang membership, and an overexposure of sex and violence. Mindless cartoons like The Simpsons and Family Guy, etc. Funny stuff, yeah, but not what kids need to develop into responsible adults. Do you really think that games like Grand Theft Auto and the hip-hop stylings of Biggie Scrotum and Lil Nutsack will help your child grow into a more well-adjusted member of society? So the conclusion is that by replacing these types of influences with the others, we have changed the outcome to an unfavorable result. Now for the correction. How do we stem the tide from the eve of destruction to get back to a more civilized society? Some will say that all guns should be outlawed. The elitist intellectuals will say that we need to be more in touch with our feelings and ourselves. And the politicians will say more taxes will solve everything. And the band played on. I say we should all pile into the National DeLorean and get back to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance in 1955. Make sure that Biff gets knocked out. Because today, Doc Brown showed up and said, "America, it's your kids. Something needs to be done about your kids."